This is a little tradition. We bring Mr. Fiolka with us. Good afternoon, Marty. How are we doing?
Doing great. It's the beginning of December. It's race week and getting leading into PRI. It's a great time to be in the racing industry. I can tell you that. It's always fun.
Excellent. So we have a video you sent us. So let's run the video and then we'll dive into the interview.
Let me tell you about this little town in the northwoods of Wisconsin called Crandon. With a population of just 1,737 people, it's quiet, peaceful, until Labor Day weekend rolls around. It becomes loud, it becomes legendary. It becomes the home to the Polaris Crandon World Championships. It all kicks off with the Lucas Oil Labor Day Parade, a small town tradition with big time horsepower. Race trucks, drivers, marching bands, and fans from around the world, right down Main Street, America. 4 days, 50 plus races, the best drivers in the world, and over 60,000 fans packing the sport's spiritual home for a weekend like no other. It's more than a race, it's a festival. It's a tradition that's part family reunion and part lifestyle celebration, still going strong 5 decades later.
Rewind till you can gain.
One more time. It takes unbelievable talent to see what you're watching. Crandon, are you ready for some racing? Here we go.
From the vintage chaos of Class 11 to Ultra 4s under the lights, crawling boulders and battling darkness. It's off-road mayhem from all walks of life, and everyone's invited. It all leads up to the main event. Crandon is home to the Red Bull Cup race. Pro 2 versus Pro 4. 1,000 horsepower monsters for 10 laps of absolute chaos. No yellow flags, just pure carnage. It's like the cheetah chasing the gazelle. Speed versus traction with 50 grand on the line.
Green flag and we're racing here in the big house in Crandon.
He backs it in. Can they get unhooked?
This is Crandon. Welcome home to the World Championships of Off-Road Racing. Don't just watch it, come feel it.
Wow. That video kind of says it all there, Marty.
Makes me ready to go back to Labor Day right now. Yes, indeed. Yeah, we work hard on with our partners and with our video crew to kind of come up with some great content like that. And we have a kind of a plan every year and what we're going to do. And this year kind of was the idea that Crandon's home to all these special things and home to what we feel is one of the best races in America now, motorsports races in America. And we feel we've been working towards that now for 10 years. And I think now we feel like Labor Day weekend, we've had a few outside people, some journalists and even some other track promoters come and say, this is definitely one of the top events in American motorsports, period.
Yeah.
It's off-road racing. And watching that reminds us why, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, the video kind of covers, I think, a few of the points that we want to elaborate on a little bit this afternoon. But let me introduce you, Marty Fiolka. You've been the promoter at Crandon International Raceway. How long have you been doing this, Marty?
I started there as in public relations actually in 2014, and then started promoting in 20. So it's my 10th year now as a promoter.
There you go.
There, and it's a career highlight on a career that's spanned a lot of things in the off-road space and in the motorsport space. And but it's definitely been an honor and had the vision for where I wanted to help Crandon get to 10 years ago, and feel like at least on Labor Day now we're there. We're right there where we want to be, and we have so much momentum now that it's taken a long time to build. But we're happy, and we feel like we have new things to discuss for next year that have been a result of all that work. Right, so it's a cumulative effect. But all in all, Crandon International Race is in a great space, and off-road racing is in a great space too right now.
Yeah, totally. So let's dive in a little bit. So this last one in September of this year was the 56th edition
Yes.
of the Crandon World Cup. I
Yep.
mean, it is kind of the Super Bowl of short course off-road racing, right? Like it's the mega event of the year for everybody. What was the quick recap of this year's event? Because by all told, it was the biggest and best ever.
Yeah, it was definitely, we had definitely a record Friday for us, record weekend in terms of attendance. I think some of the highlights again were just some of the great racing that went on, having, not only short course racing with the championship off-road series, which is there every, has their series, bringing in the Ultra 4 USA guys, because we built a whole rock racing area that's really been popular and been growing in terms of the fan engagement in that. Vintage Volkswagens and the Class 11s are there. So you have racers from all across the country now, whereas before it was a lot of Midwest-centric racers. I think that's a big one. I think for us, having all 4 OEMs there activating, so we had Ford in a big way, Ford for performance. We had Toyota back again. We had Chevrolet, and for the first time, Ram was there too, along with Polaris, who's there in a big way. And all the activations with Yokohama and Maxxis and all of that has really grown into something really special. So it's now really it's really a lifestyle 5-day camp weekend. Camping's super important for us. And just, the return of, Racer Network again, coming back again, and us producing a television, 17 hours of live television.
Mm-hmm.
That's on top of what Champ brings via, their flow racing commitments. So we've 30 something hours of live television, and all produced, between us together, just like, Brad Gerber was talking about with NHRA. We have our production crew that we do it. It's not Racer coming in. We do it for Racer in association with, we work together. Yep. The Racer Network guys were all there in our VIP camping area, the Gold Medal Camp, we call it. And, and that's another thing that's probably the biggest highlight for us, is having activation in terms of having, in 5 years ago, this didn't happen, but having president of the Polaris there, the head of Toyota Motorsports there, the head of Red Bull Racing there, all of them camping together in a space that's actually Mike and Angie Skinner have come in now to help us actually do. And, they set that up, and it's been a great addition to the weekend. A lot of B2B stuff goes on there. And, remembering the fact that these folks are coming in for 3 or 4 nights on Labor Day weekend. Some are bringing their kids, because we had VIP fishing tournaments and all kinds of things for them. And it's just become that kind of weekend. That's you want to be. If it's Memorial Day weekend, you want to be at Indianapolis, and if it's Labor Day weekend, you want to be in Crandon. And that's kind of what we've talked about for years. And it feels like we're there. We're there now, and seeing that the growth of the fan base and coming from places outside, just near Green Bay. They're coming from Milwaukee area, Chicago. We see them coming from Minneapolis. And all surroundings. So that's been a really nice thing too.
Yeah. I think one of the things in your video captured it so nicely that is, a huge benefit, something you can't recreate it at a place other than places like Crandon, is that connection to the town. You think about, like, for me, I think about like Le Mans has a connection to the town. Indianapolis obviously has a connection to there's so many others that we can't, name, but that connection to the town and is what brings that kind of magic that you can't just create that, right? It's this thing that exists, and it's this magic that you have with it. And it's the sort of the antithesis in many ways to kind of the modern day sterile super stadium type environment, right? Talk a little bit about that part of the experience, about how it's you are there at the track, and you've got great vantage points for viewing and all of that stuff and the camping, but there's this energy, this synergy with the town.
There is, and it extends well even beyond that. It's really not just the town; it's the fact that town is in the Midwest, and I mean that with all the good things that American Midwest has, and we're up in the Northwoods of Wisconsin. And every person that comes, I'm from Southern California. I work in Crandon in the summertime, but I'm here. And every person that comes out, the first thing they talk about is the people of the track, the ownership group, how different they are, and how different our volunteers are, and how different the experiences if you're coming in as a partner, and the difference of a fan in the fan base. And it's just very nice, and it's very Midwest, and you can't replicate that. You just can't. And when I first got there, the mistake I made was trying to polish the diamond too much.
Right.
The diamond needed polishing, but I went too far in trying to corporatize it, sanitize it.
Yeah.
That's not what Crandon is. The magic of people camping, the magic of people, going to the parade with their kids, the magic of, all of that, the fireworks and the moonshine and the cheese curds, as I call it. And that's all part of what makes Crandon. And yeah, the town is a mile away, downtown Crandon. But, when you go down there for the parade on Friday, it really starts with Friday morning. And that's really everybody's favorites. And all the race cars have to go. They all leave and they go right down the highway, and they park and they set up for 3 hours there. We do our first preview television show from there. But the fans were all there signing out. The drivers are signing autographs. Everybody's enjoying a beautiful day in a little town in the Midwest. And no, you can't replicate it. And it started in Crandon too. You have to remember, short course racing really started there. So we're blessed to not only have that spiritual home, which it is, but it's extended itself because of the basic town and the people who built that place, and the Flannery family who now own it. And they're all from Crandon. It's built year over year. There's no corporate plan. There's no big investors coming in and saying, hey, we're just going to build this mega thing. And it's not like that. Hey, we need a new entrance building, so that's our summer project. That's what we're going to build this summer. And then next summer we'll build whatever else. But it's always building and growing. But it's taken, as you said, 57 years next year to get here.
Yeah, totally. It's not like you can't mask that stuff. You have to find ways to accentuate it, because it's really a big part of the magic.
You accentuate the fact we have a barn and all the buildings look like barns. You accentuate the fact that there's lakes everywhere. And we have, ponds now that we stock with fish for the VIPs who go camping. You have to accentuate what you have. And to me, the thing I love the most about it, unlike any place else, really, especially in the West Coast stuff, is that it's all grass. Grass, except for the racetrack. Yeah. So it just looks beautiful. It looks great on camera, and there's trees everywhere. And camping is all on grass. That the fans love. It's just like a park. It's like, it's a really a great equivalent to a place that we've built a great partnership now with our friends down at Road America, right, 2.5 hours away, and it has the same vibe of grass and just needs constant attention and cutting in the summertime, but that green makes everything feel different and look different. And when you have a Pro 4 race at the magic hour, let's say at 6 o'clock at night or whatever it is, and everything looks beautiful. It looks like a baseball stadium. And that's, to me, the magic of what makes it special too. Totally.
Absolutely. So you mentioned a few minutes ago, as you were talking about the manufacturers and partners that you had at the event. And I kind of want to widen the lens on that a little bit, because there's a sort of a chicken and egg thing, and I'm wondering how Crandon's taking advantage of off-road is so big now. It is such a major part of every manufacturer's lineup and where their emphasis is. And it's not just the traditional Fords and Chevrolets and Dodges and Rams and things like that. I mean, you could kind of go to the other side of the spectrum and look at even brands like Porsche that are embracing getting dirty, getting off-road, and others like them, right? Yeah. So from where you sit at Crandon, which again, part of the magic which your video showed at Crandon is it's not just about, the fast, big trophy truck type. You got your Ultra 4s, you've got your vintage, you got everything in between. You just have this celebration of off-road lifestyle and competition and racing there. How are you guys positioning yourselves to, one, be a promoter of that, but also how do you capture that emotion that's happening everywhere else and bring it to Crandon?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the off-road space right now is really strong, and the rebirth in a sense really started 15 years ago with the birth of the Raptor, right? That was really the first big thing that really kind of shook everybody's minds about, wow, you can go get a high performance truck with these great suspension, take it to Baja just out of the showroom floor. Yeah. Clearly that, plus I would say the Polaris Razor back about the same amount of time, that really changed everything too. Now in the old days, you had to enjoy high performance driving, you had to go buy a race car, essentially, or when we started Wide Open Baja, in the early 2000s, that was an access portal to get people to go to Baja and drive buggies. That's one of the co-founders of that with Todd Clement, and doesn't exist anymore. Now you can go, so many more people can just enjoy it, right? They can just experience it. That's changed it. I mean, the truck market's strong. There's good profit in it. We see inklings of Toyota now with their new side-by-side that they debuted at SEMA, the new sign. That was cool. Really a fascinating project that looks like it's got some legs to it. I think Toyota's out there, Chevy's out there, certainly Ram's looking, and like you said, and Jim Farley has said he wants Ford Racing now to be basically the Porsche of off-road racing. When you make that kind of statement and that commitment, we just saw that with their Ford truck effort down in Baja, production truck, the Raptors. It's really good for Crandon. We're working on a few things. First of all, they're there and they understand that if they think of off-road in the Midwest, off-road motorsports, it's Crandon, right? Mm-hmm. If they think about, other events on the West Coast, it's the Mid, King of the Hammers, Baja. But Midwest, they're going to put their stake in Crandon because that's really still the biggest event, most prestigious event. We keep building towards that. Now we actually, with Ram, we built an activation track. We actually were able to they were giving rides in these trucks, and these were not like slow rides. These trucks were in the air. So fans, they put like 2,800 people through that course that they built there. I know Ford's looking at some things next year. So that's all part of it. Yes, having Ultra 4 there is part of it. And then the thing that's going to happen in a big way next year is that next June, we're basically reimagining our June brush run event, our Forest County Potawatomi brush run event. It's also been around for over 30 years, but next year we're going to go far deeper, lean much harder into night racing. We have lights at the racetrack now. That hasn't happened, but we are also working with Rally X. So they're bringing their series to Crandon next June. We have some announcements we're making actually next Thursday, TRI, about that. And then also next June, we're introducing something that's happened on the West Coast here with Nora, which was vintage, basically bringing old vintage off-road cars to Baja. Well, we're doing the same thing essentially at Crandon. We're going to be bringing in vintage cars, people, and almost doing a whole retro lifestyle event. It's all the same June weekend. But we're just leaning into kind of this idea that, we have one major festival and when the next one's going to be pretty strong, and the other thing that's going to be exciting to me is that, the Rally X is an international series. It's EV plus, plus other cars. We may bring vintage rally cars too. The track lends itself to that because it's not super rough. And we had them on, we had an exhibition race here last Labor Day weekend at the Polaris World Championships, and we ran the EV cars on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Different vibe, but they're working with Kicker now and Borla to actually put sound systems on these cars, which allow them to actually put high decibel noise. It can be a noise of a V8, it can be like a Star Wars sound, whatever it is, what they're deciding to do. But they're working hard at that, and the group there with Andreas Eriksson and stuff has been really, really. They also weren't sure about what was going to happen when they came to Crandon. They didn't understand, no matter what you kind of explained to them. They got there, and there was a family ownership, and the whole is very American. And they got there, I think at first they were a little bit too Eurocentric in their kind of thinking, which is what happens. And the conversation has always been, look, rally racing in the United States needs a home that's built, that you guys don't have to build. And you don't have to. We have television there. We have a facility there. We have the dirt there. We have fans there. Let's put this together and give. Because we've seen what happened with Rallycross and other things that it just didn't. Nitro. The Nitro series also just didn't, because there was so much expense up front building these tracks. They were spectacular, but then the cars don't run that long, and then and you're running those with the Class 11 Volkswagens. And the Volkswagens are getting as much viewership as the big cars are. So it's hard to justify. Now they're looking at other places as well that are existing facilities. And I think for rally in this country, that's going to be at least a settled down home base for them that they can build off of. And for us, it brings an international element to Crandon International Raceway. I mean, now there's going to be television based on that overseas. There's all kinds of things that are spinning off of that, but that's what we're going to do now is go dig hard into that, and I think it's going to be a big addition for off-road and for Crandon for sure.
That's huge. Yeah, that's huge. Rallycross has its sort of traditional homes in Europe and in England at Biggin Hill, and I'm forgetting the name of the track in Sweden where it's big. So yeah, to have an anchor point here in North America, I think is going to be a big boost to that genre of racing. And the fact that it provides a great contrast to the World Cup weekend.
Yeah, it does, and it also it's still now at Crandon being a recognized facility. I mean, becoming more and more internationally recognized in that sense. We have big fans now coming from Australia. All these things, these crossover drivers. Mad Mike was there a lot. This year, it looks like next year potentially Toby Price is going to come and race there. We've had that's all kind of a nice partnership between Red Bull, even Yokohama. Andrew Carlson's team, they have a Pro 2 that they allow, or they bring other drivers. Tanner Faust has raced there. Travis Pastrana has raced there. So that all adds to it. So we're working on a couple ways to bring a race of champion style thing. We'd like to have some more NASCAR people come Labor Day, but I think you're right. I think the June weekend's great because we have time in the schedule. We have room to build. We have room to house them. We have they take up space. Even at 400 acres, we're running out of space, which is a unique problem to have, but it's a good problem. And I think that, like you said, really the basis though is that we feel like we can offer them a real stable platform to be a springboard for them on a business plan that kind of works. If you guys come here, television's already set up, this is already set up. You guys have just come in and worry about bringing partners in and having a great race and bringing in that's the concern. And if you relieve yourself from being the builder and the promoter, then you can spend a lot more time worrying about being a race series, I think. And that's for them. They understood that, and that's what's exciting for all of us. Yeah,
huge. Talk a little bit about the differences and the similarities between the short course world and the sort of the desert off-road world. Where's there the fusion, the crossover? Where are there the differences?
I mean, as things go, I mean, back in the early days when you had short course racing at Riverside and at Crandon, those were kind of started off as basically desert cars. Buggies, trucks, they'd lower the ride height and they put some, smaller tires on and basically went racing. And then as the Mickey Thompson series kind of evolved, they got specialized. And of course, everything has got specialized. Right. So when you watch a Pro 2 or Pro 4, 1,000 horsepower, all-wheel drive, 6-speed X-Track gearbox car, Toyota like the Greaves have, or, Jimmy Henderson, those guys, when you watch them run, they're spectacular is what they do. They don't do it for long. Yeah. I mean, you'd be amazed that a 15-minute race is essentially an endurance race to try to keep these trucks working because they just are so hard on everything. But that's what makes them spectacular. And when they're not as expensive, let's say, as an all-wheel drive trophy truck, which is right now at about $1.2 million on this generation of Mason truck, which is just that. The next generation is $1.6 million or more for the new version of those trucks. They're meant to run 18 hours. And even we saw at the Baja 1000, Bryce Menzies won and his front diff was falling out, but they're running them so hard that's changed. It's a much different discipline. And the thing that you noticed when we used to do this, if we brought desert cars to a short course race like we did in Chula Vista in the old core days, the Class 1 cars on trophy trucks look terrible. They're slow. They're painful to watch in comparative terms. I mean, they're just not light, and they're not low to the ground, and they don't do what a Pro 2, Pro 4, Pro Buggy does, right? Yeah. And so the sport is specialized itself. The great part about bringing like Class 11 Volkswagens or Class 11 Volkswagens, they're essentially the same car. Ultra 4, those classes, the unlimited rock race cars that the Lauren Healy's have and the Von Gittens, those look great because they do rocks and they do short course, and they're also 1,000 horsepower wheel drive.
Yeah, those are crazy.
But they do some things, they change them. But we really work at trying to give it. It's all about the show, right? I mean, I'd love to have trophy trucks here, but it wouldn't be a show at all. It would be not good for anyone. So the idea of bringing some vintage cars back, some vintage trucks, that has some appeal to it, because those are more stock. But you here now you've specialized the sport into, and the thing that's gotten, it's just like desert racing's become, the guys at the front do it all the time. They're out. You just can't buy a trophy truck and go to Baja and expect to run with the Menzies or the McMillans, the Puglias. They're so good at every facet of that. Well, short course is the same way. Probably 5 years ago, Bryce Menzies could bring his Pro 4 there at Crandon and run up front. Now they just can't. They've gotten so good at perfecting those trucks, and they do it all summer long. So when you come to Crandon, it's difficult to do that. And the guys who come from the outside as fast as they are still pretty shocked at how intensely competitive this stuff is. It doesn't matter if it's a pro side-by-side classes, even the sportsman classes, but then you get into the meat of the action, pro light, pro 2, pro 4, pro buggy. It's a war, and it's a 15-minute war.
Yeah, super intense.
Yeah.
The big weekend, the Labor Day weekend is 4 days of action that we see in the public, but it takes a full year to put all that stuff together. Give us a little bit of the insight about what you have on your agenda coming up in the winter months, because there's probably going to be a couple feet of snow over the track.
Yeah, well, the racetrack itself, kind of goes into hibernation. I mean, I know I talked to Cliff Flannery last night. He said it would be -5 or something there today or last night. So I've been there in those conditions. Nobody wants to do anything. It's under all snow anyway, and they're out ice fishing or they're hunting, and that's the nature of that. I think, but the office is always working. Our office manager Kennedy is always there, and it's not quite a full-time job for me. I have other clients, but it's quite a bit of time. Like you said, there's a lot that goes into it. It just in terms of television production and getting that set and getting your talent set, and then working with the series, and like for instance, so now you're bringing the Rally X cars. Well, that's a whole different safety conversation now. Right. With USAC, and we have meetings next week to discuss how we're going to blend our safety crew in with theirs. So if one of the EV cars catches fire, how does that looks different? You really almost have to tow it into one of the
legs. Really is.
It's going to burn it. I mean, so that's a constant conversation. Partnerships always require a lot of work, right? There's just constant people, it's constant turnover, and people. We're blessed now to be able to have longer term contracts, which help. Just that takes some of that off the shoulders of both sides, us and them, and they know where they're going to be budget wise and everything else. And the thing that's really fun is now it's become a creative process of, okay, how are we going to activate this, or how the partners all want to do something more. They want, that's not just content creation, it's going out to the fan base, and so that all adds to a lot of the fun of it. But it's people would be amazed, and then when they really would be amazed is once spring opens up, and then the maintenance on the equipment, the amount, Cliff Flannery's crew have been, since Labor Day, has been doing nothing but turning over dirt, mixing in clay. I mean, the dirt, the science of the dirt it's its own thing. It's a 1 3/4 track.
Oh, yeah.
So it's all that. It's the buildings and shutting down for the winter and then opening up for the summer, and then we're constantly cutting grass and reseeding, and the fences were falling over because of every time there's in the winter, which I've learned when it gets so cold, it starts lifting up the dirt, right? So you see fences that are bent over, and we've just to make the track Crandon presentable. It's signage that needs to be replaced. It's brutal, and it's not like Southern California. You put a sign up in the last 8 years, it doesn't happen there.
Yeah.
The vinyl rips, and it's cold and windy, and so it's a full-time process. But we don't have a lot of full-time people. The Flannerys are there, and I'm there, and then but the blessing is that for instance, on Labor Day weekend, we'll have like 400 to 500 volunteers to come to the racetrack. You know, it's a great charity thing that we can give back to their charities for working for us, whether it's the, you know, all the food stands, or whether it's, you know, parking or security or whatever it is. You know, we couldn't function without that, and that ties it right back to the community. And it's always been that way.
Yeah,
and I think that's how, you know, a lot of places like us survive. I mean, you have to remember, you wouldn't last in Southern California, but there's various venues, Iola, which is a big car show venue, some other concert venues where they have 2 events a year, 1 event a year, and the facility can stay. With us, it's 2 events right now, and, you know, we're open 8 days a year. So the trick is making those 8 days count, and
there you go.
Fans have a great time, and everybody wants to come back.
Nice.
Yeah,
Marty, our time is up, but all the best for next year, and it'll be interesting to see how this, you know, the rally portion kicks off in June, and right up to Labor Day weekend for another awesome event next year. 57 next year.
Yep, the Polaris World Championships, and it'll be our 11th year with Red Bull too, with Red Bull Cup Sunday. So proud of all those numbers and those companies staying with us, and just proud of being part of Crandon and being part of this week. It's been great. So I appreciate it, George. Thank you.
Nice. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Hey, we want to thank you for watching. Now, be sure to like, subscribe, and click on the bell so you're always up to date with the latest racing technology, industry insights, and exclusive content from EPARTRADE. In racing, every second counts. This is EPARTRADE, the premier business-to-business platform for the performance and racing industry. We connect buyers and suppliers 24/7 worldwide. Racing never stops, neither do we. Discover cutting-edge products and services from around the globe, gaining insights from our live platform, daily newsletters, weekly webinar series, and our highly anticipated annual Race Industry Week. EPARTRADE.com. The racing industry, every minute, every day.
Let's go, boys.
How many kings have we got racing today?
All of them.
I got nothing to lose.
As you can see, we've had another beautiful day on the Isle of Man.
We'll do some racing this week, and it's going to be a blast.
ARP, the ultimate fasteners for whatever you build. To get the best performance, always follow ARP's installation instructions included with the product. For the latest torque specs, go to arpinstructions.com.
When it comes to pushing the limits of performance, the pros know there's no room for compromise. At Crowder Cams, we don't just engineer camshafts and valve train components, we redefine what power means. Since 1955, Crowder Cams has been the name trusted by racers, engine builders, and gearheads around the globe. Whether you're building a street machine, a dragster, or a track car, Crowder Cams provides the muscle you need to dominate. And with Crowder, victory is within your reach.
Not all trailer cabinets are built for the long road ahead. Aluminum Econo trailer cabinets from C-Tech Manufacturing are engineered to last and ready to ship today. Each Econo cabinet is packed with exclusive features like motion latch drawers and gasket lock countertops, all made under one roof in our Wisconsin headquarters. Shop Econo online today.
If you're watching this video, you might be wondering, what is WPC? WPC is a surface treatment designed to reduce friction and increase the strength of metal parts. As much as it might seem like a coating, WPC is actually a surface treatment. Think of it like shot painting, but the media is much finer, like talc. So what you're left with is a super hard, smooth surface that actually has some proprietary dry lubricants embedded within it. For more information, visit WPCtreatment.com.
Scott Lewis & Associates, the sales, marketing, and branding specialist for the automotive performance industry since 1988. We get our manufacturers on track by opening an extensive distribution network, providing product training to sales staff, creating fully integrated sales and marketing strategies, building successful industry partnerships, attending trade shows, events, and races, offering first-class support to customers. SLAI delivers solutions that win you sales. To get in touch with an SLAI representative, call 516-378-6100. Go to scottlewisinc.com or email info@scottlewisinc.com.
With roots in the Midwest that date back well before the Model T, Fifth Third Bank has a long history of serving the needs of automotive companies. While much has changed over the years, our passion for helping businesses put cars on the road and on the track has not. Today, we are more committed than ever as a member of SEMA, a founding member of PRI, and a sponsor of multiple race teams across several racing series.
For over a decade, Fifth Third Bank has been a staunch supporter of our industry and a great partner for many companies in the motorsports field.
Our business has been growing extremely fast, and really we could not be where we are today without Fifth Third. They provided amazing strategic advice, the capital we need to support our phases of growth.
They are true partners for me now, and what they do with their involvement in motorsports is untouched in this community.
Where can we take your business? Fifth Third Bank.
Your whole day rides on your diesel truck. Don't let anything slow it down. Keep life and drive with America's #1 DEF brand. Only Blue DEF products are triple filtered and guaranteed pure. And Blue DEF Platinum helps prevent deposits before they create problems. So nothing stands between you and the day, wherever it takes you. Count on Blue DEF and Blue DEF Platinum. Guaranteed for what drives you.